This is where I come to the agenda setting question. How do you set an agenda? How do you convince journalists? Journalists still look at X. They still feel, oh yeah, Twitter is sort of a mirror. It might be Twitter going a little bit to the right, but we still check it out, what's going on there. So what do far-right parties? And in that case, there was one far-left national party also that was also very, very strongly boosted by a factor of 10. Sarah Wagenknecht, BSW for the Germans in the room. They talk about migration. And they don't talk about migration, they talk about potential harms of migration. Crime and migration, danger and migration, everything negative around migration. And that shaped the electoral campaign. Although, the socialists wanted to speak about labor rights, and the moderate conservatives wanted to speak about the economy, the Greens want to speak about climate, AfD wants to speak about migration. What is the whole country speaking about? Migration. Because that is the agendas happening, that happens on X, and that happens on all other social media. And here it becomes interesting because we have this direct intervention, which, there's no other, the researchers say, well, there's no clear explanation that we can give for these boost and dimming factors, which I would call censorship, frankly. For me, this is censorship. If my probability to end up in somebody's feed with my content without engagement, without counting engagement, so it's not about how attractive is my content, but it's 15 or 17 times lower, and a socialist's probability is 30 times lower, and what is that if not modern form of censorship? Yeah. So that's the first point. And then the second, obviously, is the algorithm that everybody speaks about. It's based on rage. Engagement works if you have content that enrages people. It's rage, hate, and fear, that. So everybody who produces content that is not based on rage, hate, and fear is censored, because the probability of getting your content out there is significantly lower. And these two effects combined don't only set the incentives on social media, because obviously content creators understand that, and most people are on the internet for money. So they also pick up those topics because they know this is what's going to give them visibility and advertising money. And then this flows over into traditional media, and then traditional media talk about it because they also depend on the advertising money, on being seen on the internet. And then also people in good faith talk about it, politicians talk about it, and this is how you set the agenda. I think there's an additional effect, and that is direct censorship. It's try to talk about women's health on a meta platform. There's several studies out there, and they say this content is censored very systematically. Try to put traditional media content. I sometimes do that. I do just like a quick and dirty Instagram video. It goes out, no problem, on topic. I get an interview by a German broadcaster, public broadcaster, on the same topic, so I say exactly the same things, but with decent makeup, well-dressed, and with a Tagesschau, so the broadcaster's logo in the back. No way this goes viral. It's like 10 times less views. So I don't know if there are any studies on that, but my feeling is that media content systematically gets downranked. So I think this whole censorship issue coming from the US, it's really a projection. It's like in psychology, when you want to do something bad, you always think that everybody else is doing it to you. And that's also a way to really influence the debate, and that is what is going on in that space.